Oh, snap. Welcome back to the channel, y'all. My name's Patrick. If you like true crime, hit the subscribe button because I'm live every night. Hit the follow button on Rumble because I'm live every night. Shout out to TikTok. You guys have been here since the beginning, which was about 2 minutes ago. Lovely to see everybody. Hit the thumbs up, y'all. TikTok tap the screen like crazy. We're going to talk about Maddie Soto first. And then I was telling TikTok, there's a dude from Washington. He was like a councilman, ex-councilman, something like that. James McNeal is his name. And apparently he took the life of his 20-year-old girlfriend. And he's 58. What? This is crazy. So we're going to talk about all kinds of things. Welcome in, everybody. Thanks for the love. Here we go. I'm going to shrink myself down YouTube. Let's just jump straight into this. Maddie Soto. There's been some, I guess it's some, I don't know if it's new details, but they were like, there's some stuff that's coming out. So here we go.
Well, she's very dependent on us. I don't think she'd know what to do if she did run away. She's not the type. She's a good kid.
Stephan Sterns, the man accused of murdering Maddie Soto, in his own words, telling police about the day that Maddie disappeared.
I'm sorry I'm not being more help. I'm not a morning person. I was half asleep as it was.
We're also learning what Maddie's mom told detectives.
Not a morning person. Man, you are crazy as hell, sir. Oh, shout out, Bridget. Thank you so much for getting the Off the Grid started. That's a galaxy right there. And Marsha, thank you for the Off the Grids. Y'all, thank you for the Cash App and the Venmo. Very sweet. You guys don't have to do that. But I do freaking appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Detectives after finding out about alleged sexual abuse. Thanks for joining me for Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. Stephan Sterns is now charged with the murder of Maddie Soto. Maddie's mom reported her missing back on the evening of February 26th after she didn't come out of the school. Sterns was the sometimes live-in boyfriend of Maddie's mother, Jen Soto. Both of them spoke to police that night. Sterns was
Jenny, thank you.
The last person to see Maddie alive, claiming he dropped her off for school at a church that morning. Sterns spoke to police the next day on February 27th, and it was audio recorded.
Woke up around 7:15, somewhere around there, which is an early start for us, but we had talked about getting McDonald's breakfast beforehand, so we wanted to make good time. We did make good time. We got out the door maybe 7:30ish, 7:45ish, maybe. Got over to that area. She was asleep in the car most of the time.
Liliya, thank you.
Snoozing until we got there. We got to McDonald's. We're close to McDonald's. I said, "You still want it?" Wasn't interested in the McDonald's anymore, so we continued on.
Sterns said,
"Man, you sound crazy as hell." The whole time he knew what he did, y'all. That's crazy. Oh, Chaotic Billy Joe, thank you. Is my mom in here? I just saw my mom join. Mom, put some hearts in the chat. Are you in here?
He then dropped off Maddie down the street from her school, not at the school.
She's got this phase that she's been into lately where she's very particular about what car she's seen getting out of in front of the school. She prefers her mom's car, but my cars are, I guess, kind of hoopties. I get it. It's an
Sarah, yeah, wasn't interested in her early morning McDonald's. There's not a kid alive that isn't going to be like, give me some pancakes. I need sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle and a large orange juice.
But that was sometime probably between...
Or like a Shamrock Shake or whatever the hell is out now. McRib. Maya Star, your eyes are gorgeous. Oh, stop it. These things. My mama grew them. I just keep them moisturized now, y'all. And my mom was in here. I thought, Mom, are you in here? Where'd you go?
8:20.
There she is. Mom, put some hearts in the chat.
8:40-ish. Somewhere in there. It was along this stretch of the road that on the right side that has all the communities on it. Before you get to the overpass. You could see the overpass from where it was. So it was on that side, on that stretch of road. And that's where I dropped her off. She said she was going to go wait for her friends. She was going to find them and hang out and wait for her friends.
Steven, I got one problem. I got one thing to say to you.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God. Stop fucking lying.
You piece of garbage.
And I asked if that was going to be okay. She said, yeah, it's fine. kids get dropped off early enough as it is. So it's not totally unusual for that to happen. It's just not usually that early that I drop her off. I do school runs every once in a while for her. I said,
Go burn in hell for that shit.
okay, let her out. Have a good day. Love you. Thanks. Love you too. And I turned around and was driving away and was watching her in my rearview mirror to make sure that she was going where she was supposed to go. And she was moving in that direction, but she was rummaging around in her backpack or something. What I assumed was probably headphones or something like that, but I find out later that she forgot her phone here, so she may have been rummaging for her phone. But she was still...
How could you even say this stuff knowing what you freaking did? He's just sitting there running his mouth, talking about a bunch of random shit that clearly didn't happen. This dude sucks.
Kind of making her way towards that.
And Stella, thank you for the heart me. Thanks for the love, you guys. We got 4 of those left. Thank you. Let's get them.
Direction, so it looked okay. Looked like any other day. And I just continued on.
That last little bit of information is very important because the sheriff of Orange County said after Sterns was arrested and charged with sex crimes involving Maddie, that video showed Sterns tossing Maddie's backpack into a dumpster at the apartment complex where they live.
They can burn in hell for that one too. Sapphire, thanks for the heart me.
The morning that she disappeared.
We have video evidence that shows Stephan Sterns discarding items in a dumpster in that
Yeah,
apartment.
why the hell would you be doing that, bro? Sapphire, another one. Thank you. Oh, 2 left.
Complex in Kissimmee at 7:35 on Monday, February 26th. Detectives later recovered Madeline's backpack and her school-issued laptop from that dumpster.
Now back to that interview with Sterns on February 27th. The detective seemed surprised by the location where Sterns said he dropped Maddie off that morning. And you can tell they were looking at a map while talking with him.
Yeah, where's the church? Is this the church here?
There is yep, so, that's the church.
Okay, so we weren't up to the church yet. So we were pulled on here, and then we pulled maybe about halfway up here, and I dropped her off somewhere in this area here.
And she walked from there.
What the fuck? God, you can tell he's lying.
There to the
His voice is just as annoying as that JP dude's. Why he talk like this? And this dude's like,
school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pretty long way.
You'll burn in hell.
It's maybe a block or so, but it's not out of the ordinary for her. She likes to do that sometimes. She likes the cold weather. She was wearing her hoodie.
So did you merge into the sidewalk, or did you stop in the middle of the street, or?
I just pulled over to the sidewalk there. Let her hop out.
How often do you drop her off?
This might be the 5th or 6th time I've ever done it.
Okay. And when you drop her off, where do you normally drop her off at?
Normally down the street from the school. She requests that a lot.
Like the same area or somewhere else?
Especially if it's sometimes in the church parking lot, sometimes just wherever she tells us to let her out. As long as it's close, you know.
The detectives then went back to the trip to McDonald's that Sterns had brought up earlier.
The McDonald's that you guys were going to stop at, did you pull into the plaza at any point?
No, she 86'd the idea before we even got there.
What do you mean by 86?
Poo-pooed the idea, didn't want it anymore.
Okay.
Wasn't in the mood anymore.
What did he say?
At any point while you were driving
That's a weird way to say that.
to the school, did you make a U-turn?
You're talking to adults, you weirdo. Speak like an adult. I know it's hard for you, but try speaking like one. She decided not to go. She poo-pooed the idea.
You what?
Shut the hell up, dude. You pissed me off too. This guy's gonna piss me. I got a drink tonight though, y'all. Cheers. Who else has got a gin and tonic out there? Probably no one.
Yeah, I tried to sell her on McDonald's one more time because I was still kind of hungry, but at that point she was also just wanting to get to school.
Okay,
so we
where
turned right back around.
Where did you make that U-turn at?
Actually, the school not the school parking lot, the church parking lot. I pulled into that, turned around and pulled back out. Did a UE there and went back to the McDonald's, and she still wasn't having it, and that's when we came back. See, the McDonald's is on the
Desiree, thank you. Oh shit, we hit it too. Thank you.
same town loop, or town center. It connects to the same road that the
school's on?
Yeah, so it's like a straight shot.
Then the detectives moved on to what Sterns claimed he did after dropping Maddie off at school.
And then after you dropped her off, what did you do?
Stayed, talked to her for a minute, made sure, is it all right that you're going early? Because it was still early. She said, yeah, it's fine. I'm going to hang out and wait for my friends to get there, which she does sometimes, so it didn't sound, outrageous or anything. And that was it. Told her to have a good day. I loved her.
Oh my
Told me
God.
she loved me too. I turned around to leave, and I was watching her in my rearview mirror. And she looked like she was walking in the right direction. She was rummaging in her bag a little bit, like I said, but still sort of just shambling in the right direction while she was doing it. So it looked normal. It looked okay.
Okay, and then what did you do after you left the area?
Missy Arden, thank you.
I left to go to the local vape shop because I needed some more vape juice. They weren't quite open yet, so I ended up going back home, waited about an hour or so, and then went back and checked the vape shop again. It was open, so I got what I needed there, and came back.
Do you remember what time you came home?
The first time was probably...
Man, I hate this dude's voice. It's so freaking annoying. But you know what I love to death? Wild Loves. Thank you for the $5 Rumble rant. Wait. It says cast member of Walt Disney World. Wait, what? What happened? What did I miss? Let's keep going. Thank you for the Rumble rant. You're very sweet, y'all. And I see the high bears coming in on TikTok too. Thanks for supporting the channel, y'all. You don't have to do that. By the way, hit the follow button if you're new here. Tap the screen like crazy, y'all. Let's get 25,000 likes. And come over to YouTube if you want to watch the video along with us. Just search for The Mystery Project on YouTube. You can subscribe. Search for The Mystery Project on Rumble. You can follow. But you can actually see the video over there. So come on over, y'all. Come hang out on YouTube as well. And Rumble.
Right around 10, close to it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Wild Loves. Yeah, okay. Got it.
And then I waited here and went back to the vape shop. Probably finished at the vape shop and came back home again a little after 11.
Sterns was then asked about Maddie's mom, Jen Soto. Did he see her when he returned home that first time?
Okay. You said the first time that you hung out with a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Was here when you got here at
Yes.
10? Okay.
I think so. She might have been at her blood appointment. Let me double check. I know she had a blood appointment at some point during the day.
It's okay. We don't have to ask her right now.
Sorry, everything's a blur.
So she might have been here. She might have not have been here
I
the first time.
believe she was here because she was sleeping in as much as she possibly could because she's been messed up with a new work schedule. So she had to be here because she didn't want to sleep in.
Okay.
I'll double check, but yeah, I believe she was here.
And that's another interesting moment here. Sterns said he would double check on whether Jen Soto was sleeping or not. Keep in mind, this was just one day earlier. Sterns then said he left to go to some stores. He visited a Coliseum of Comics store, a couple of Target stores, and House Rules games. Sterns apparently liked to play video games. The detectives then
Oh, God. His bio of work said cast member at Walt Disney World. Oh, when they showed his LinkedIn picture. See, y'all are catching things I don't even catch over here on YouTube. TikTok, come over to YouTube. Come on. Let's get it. Let's keep going.
questioned Sterns about Maddie leaving for school without her cell phone.
And Wild Loves, thank you for the additional $5 Rumble rant. Y'all, Rumble is killing it right now. YouTube, don't start with the super chats. Oh, damn.
Is it normal for her to not have her phone?
Unfortunately, she's severely ADHD, as am I and her mother. So it is not uncommon at all, and in fact, very, very usual thing for her to forget things. She'd forget her head if it wasn't screwed on. And we're forgetful about, writing her about that. We'll remind her, and then it will leave our mind, and she'll say okay, and then it will leave her mind.
And is she on medication for this stuff?
Normally, yes. She's been staying with her grandparents a lot this week while her mom was working. so she has not been getting her meds a whole lot.
Okay.
So she was really spacey.
Where's mom working at? What changed in her hours that she needs all this sleep?
She's training, so it's not a set schedule yet.
Okay.
The detectives then asked Sterns about other items Maddie would have had with her, including what Maddie's backpack looked like.
Does she have any other devices besides that phone? Any other electronics?
She had her school laptop with her.
Okay. Is that still supposed to be with her?
Still supposed to be with her, yes.
Okay.
You liar. Meg, thanks for the hand hearts. Dawn, thanks for the bears. Meg and Randy, you guys are sweet. Thank you so much for the love, y'all. Let's keep it going.
And what kind of book bag was she carrying?
Black book bag with like grayish blue hibiscus flowers on it, like a print.
When she leaves in the mornings, where does she usually put her phone?
Either in her backpack or like her back pocket, kind of wherever she just thinks to put it at the time.
Sterns was then asked whether Maddie would have just taken off and run away.
I don't know, you've probably been asked already, but she's never ran away or been away for longer than a certain period of time, amount of time, nothing like that.
No, she's very dependent on us. I don't think she'd know what to do if she did run away. She's not the type.
This dude is crazy.
Good kid.
Besides the ADHD, is she diagnosed with anything else?
Yeah. She was tested a while back and had some symptoms of autism, so she's potentially on the spectrum there.
Okay.
She was officially diagnosed with it when she was younger, and then she was retested and said, well, she shows symptoms of being on the spectrum, but maybe not full-on autistic.
In fact, Maddie, according to documents released by police and prosecutors, was constantly in contact with family and friends. Sterns then asked whether there was any news about Maddie's disappearance.
Have we had any updates?
We literally have like 50 people right now on scene looking. I don't know if there's any updates. The best person would be the other detective because he's the one that is in charge of all.
Man, that piece of garbage is asking for updates because he wants to know if he's been caught yet. Holy hell.
This.
I don't think I've eaten anything since yesterday.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys are worried.
This next little bit of information discussed in the interview is interesting. Sterns apparently split his time between his parents' home in Sarasota County and the apartment where Maddie and her mom lived. Maddie's mom would later tell detectives that Sterns hadn't been to their apartment since December.
Like, because you live down south, right? Mm-hmm. When did you come back up north to help her?
I just got here this weekend.
Do you remember what day it was?
Sunday was her birthday party, so yeah, it was the evening after her birthday party, Sunday.
Okay. Do you remember what time you got here on Sunday?
This dude is crazy.
8:30-ish,
Antelopes, thank you.
maybe.
Okay.
Just in time to make sure that she was doing all her nighttime routines. I'm waiting for her mom to get home.
You live in North Pole, right?
Yeah, I split my time between the two.
Is that on
places.
Snug Street?
Snug Street,
Okay,
yeah.
that makes sense. So you have a lot of Snug Street on here.
Yeah, I split my time
Stella, yo.
between the two.
And shockingly, when Maddie was, quote, missing, Sterns said he and Maddie's mom didn't leave the apartment complex to look for her.
Did you and your wife, when you guys were looking for where did you guys look?
Me and her stayed local. It was all the rest of the family that mobilized and was beating the bushes. And
Did you guys drive together or separate?
I don't think we drove anywhere when we were looking.
You didn't drive anywhere?
Not that I recall.
Did you guys go anywhere last night? Was that media?
What the fuck?
You didn't go looking? Holy shit. You wouldn't be able to keep me in the house. I'd be flipping over everything. Crazy as hell. Oh, I don't think we went anywhere. You what?
Bruh.
Yeah, I wonder why.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Probably because you knew exactly where she was, huh? You piece of garbage. God. Oh, I hate this guy. TikTok, hit the follow button if you're new here. Tap the screen like crazy. We got to get 25,000 likes, y'all. Let's get it. Thanks for the bears. We got about 100 left. Thanks for the love, you guys. Come over to YouTube and Rumble if you want to watch the video along with us. You can actually see the video on YouTube and Rumble. All you got to do is search for The Mystery Project. Sarah, thanks for the hoops. Let's go. Thanks for the love, you guys. All right, let's keep going.
Maybe. I think Fox 35 or something was coming.
If it is, let me tell him he needs to take it out.
Okay.
I don't recall.
So the rest of the family was out frantically searching for Maddie, but not Sterns or her mom. Then detectives confronted Sterns about his story about the morning Maddie disappeared, not matching video evidence.
So keep in mind, all of this is still northbound,
Okay.
right? You're still northbound on Jungyang Parkway.
Northbound.
So why is your car seen going southbound at 8:10? I'll show you what location it is. McDonald's is over here.
Mm-hmm.
At 8:10, your car is seen going southbound at this intersection. So meaning going toward Kissimmee.
Mm-hmm. I had forgotten I had forgotten my gate clicker. I'm sorry. I forgot. I had gone back to the house real quick after we left because I forgot my gate clicker. I actually had to go through the front gate and use my parking pass to grab my clicker. So it was the wrong time. I'm sorry. Like I said, I was guesstimating these times. I'm not a morning person.
Okay.
You're also a liar.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God. Stop fucking lying.
You piece of garbage. You're going to burn in hell, too. You're going to burn in hell for that. Larissa. Going in hard right there. Thank you for getting 3 shirts off the merch store. Damn. You got the You Look Suspicious, the Patrick Volcano Tour, and the True Crime Time. Thank you. That's 3 more off the grids, y'all. That's 5 off the grids tonight. Thank you so much, y'all. Check it out. TheHauntedSide.com. You can find the merch. You can find ways to support the show directly. All kinds of stuff. Do anything on there, and it is considered to be off the grid. Thank you for the love. Larissa, thank you. Bridget, thanks for the Cash App. And Marsha, thanks for the Venmo. You guys are amazing. You don't have to do that, obviously, but I do appreciate it. Thanks for the love. All right, let's keep going. And TikTok, hit the follow button. If you're new here, tap the screen like crazy. And we got 100 bears left.
So yes, we've gone out.
How far did you get before you came back down when you realized you forgot your clicker?
Nearly all the way to the school.
So why not just drop her off and then go back? Because you're going to go through the gate anyways. Weirdo. You're lying.
And then we turned around. We had plenty of time to kill, so there was time to go back.
Man, that was a Freudian slip if I ever heard one.
How dare you?
We had plenty of time to... You sick son of a biscuit-eating frog.
I rushed back, got the clicker, and that's when I came back here this way.
So you guys came back here to get your clicker?
Correct.
So when we look at the cameras in the front, it's going to show you coming back in
Correct.
here with her in the car?
Yes, with her in the passenger seat,
Okay.
yes.
I know it sounds like we're asking you stupid questions, okay? We just want to verify
okay.
the times.
I'm sorry I'm not being more help. I'm not a morning person. I was half asleep as it was.
Sterns was then questioned about his cell phone. Maddie didn't have her cell phone that morning that she disappeared, and Sterns didn't have his either.
The other detective mentioned that you did not have your phone yesterday?
Correct.
Tell me about that.
I left my phone at home in the morning, too. I was so busy riding Herd over to get us out the door on time that I left my phone. She left her phone. We
Okay.
both left our
Stella, thank you.
phones.
Did you have your phone when you went to the smoke shop?
Not the first time after I dropped her off. I was still without it. I got my phone and went back to the smoke shop.
Detectives said Sterns' phone is a major piece of evidence in this case. They later said they found more than 1,700 images of Maddie on the phone and in a Google Drive
Oh my God.
that showed Sterns performing
This dude is sick. Don, thank you. Freddie returns, thank you.
sex acts on Maddie
Yeah, this dude is a gigantic piece of garbage.
or vice versa. Sometimes Maddie was asleep.
Oh my God, you sick. I can feel my temperature rising, y'all. My cheeks are starting to get flushed. Don't piss me off right here.
Sterns was asked about something unusual on his phone that the detectives had noticed.
And then I also noticed, I was checking your call history. I noticed that you don't have anything before this morning. Is that unusual on your phone?
No, it's a new phone. Stupid. I went to do an update yesterday morning, and I don't know what the fuck. Pardon me. I don't know what the heck I did, but somehow during the massive OS update, I managed to factory reset my phone and lose all of my contacts, all my information.
What time was that? Do you remember?
Oh,
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
No one in the history of people, of mankind, has ever completely factory reset their phone on accident. You crazy. Nobody's done that. Nobody goes, oh, I'm just going to do this update. Factory reset. And then it says, are you sure you want a factory reset? And you go, yes. And then it's like, okay, but to factory reset, you have to log out of your iCloud. You have to log out of this. You got to turn off Find My Phone, all that stuff. Are you sure this is what you want to do? And then it goes, yeah. And you did it by accident?
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
You were trying to get rid of all that stuff that they were going to find, that sick shit that you're going to burn in hell for. Oh my God. Oh, and you see how stupid he sounds too? Oh yeah, like I'm so stupid. I somehow accidentally shut the hell up. You know what I'm not going to accidentally do? I can't say it because we're live on TikTok. Rumble. I'm going to type it in on Rumble. Boom. There you go, Rumble. That's that would be no accident.
That was easy.
All right. And let's continue. Oh, TikTok, hit me with the bears real quick. We got like 45 left. We all be unbearable. Thank you for the love. And come join the YouTube. Come join the Rumble. Just search The Mystery Project on YouTube and Rumble. Come join the stream over there. You get to see the video.
sometime while I was hanging out with her, I looked at her and said, what did I just do?
Okay.
She might know better. I don't know what time it was. It was when I was here with...
Okay. I don't think I have any other questions. Do you, Louis?
I don't know where my head was yesterday. It was so far up my backside.
That's okay. We understand.
Dude, you are crazy as hell. You're going to burn for all that shit. You know what another question is? She should have asked you what size suit, like prison suit, do you need? That's what she should have asked you. Do you want a large? Extra large? Oh, you sooner, chick. I got 3 shirts for a birthday present to myself today. Ah, let's go. Yes, you did. Thank you so much. So sweet. And Wild Loves, thank you for another $5 Rumble Red. Damn. No one in the history of Factory Reset. Exactly. Never since that's been a thing has anybody ever accidentally done it. Thank you both for the Rumble Rants. Very sweet. And shout out to Lauren. Thanks for oh, you got the Moms Love True Crime shirt. Let's freaking go. Y'all, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 off the grids. Damn, y'all are amazing. TheHauntedSide.com. Go check it out.
In the meantime, while we're waiting for all this to get sorted out, I am going to hold on to your phone, okay? I'll give it back
Oh, he was probably sweating bullets right there.
to you when we're done. Okay? Do you have any questions for us?
Oh, Julie, thank you.
How long are you gonna need my phone? That's
I'm not sure. I'm waiting for my supervisor to call me.
my dad. It's just my dad's using that to get a hold of me and get updates.
They can call Jen's phone.
So Sterns said,
They can call Jen's phone. Yep. Damn, you see how he was all, well, how long are you going to need it?
he accidentally factory reset his phone the day that Maddie disappeared. There have been a lot of questions about what Maddie's mother, Jen Soto, knew about Maddie's disappearance, if anything.
Right.
A police report says a detective interviewed Jen Soto and Sterns a day after that audio interview. Jen Soto told detectives that she, Maddie, and Sterns typically slept in the same bed together, but there were times that Sterns and Maddie slept in another bed together if she needed a good night's sleep because of her anxiety.
You what? What? What the fuck?
So her mom knew that her boyfriend, not her dad, her boyfriend, would sleep in the same bed together.
Bruh.
I have so many questions about that. Are you fucking kidding me? That is the most disgusting thing I could. What? No. You need a good night's sleep. Send that dude's bitch ass home, and you sleep in the bed and let your daughter sleep in her bed alone. That's crazy, y'all.
How dare you?
Oh my God.
A detective wrote that he confronted Jen Soto with evidence that Sterns had been sexually abusing Maddie. The document
Dear God.
is redacted with names blacked out, but it says that Jen Soto asked to see the image of Stephan and Maddie. I pulled out a printed
She wanted to see it?
picture from Stephan's Google Drive that showed Maddie with Stephan's penis.
Sweetness, damn it. Sorry, TikTok. I gotta say that shit because TikTok gets mad as hell. The overlords, they get mad when they hear certain things. I'm 100% sure that's probably one of the things that they get mad at.
In her mouth. Jen said she didn't recognize anything in the picture, as if
what?
She was in denial. However, she became visibly upset. In interviewing Stephan Sterns, the detectives wrote, Stephan stated that Maddie always needed human contact when going to sleep.
You what?
Stephan referred to it as snuggling.
Oh, you sick son of a... Don, thank you.
As the interview went on, I asked Stephan if Maddie had ever been sexually active with anyone in the past. Stephan stated there was an incident when Maddie was much younger. Stephan said that she did something with a phone or camera, but she wasn't scolded for it. Stephan said she was very young when this happened.
What? Rebecca, this is the Madeline Soto case.
When detectives asked Sterns about the photos on his drive, he asked whether he should be talking to a lawyer. He was charged a short time later.
Oh, hell no. You need to be talking to Jesus. You need to be praying for forgiveness, you sick son of a motherless goat. Sausage, thank you. Angie, thanks for the figure art.
There was sex crimes related to Maddie. I want to bring in Tim Jansen. He's a criminal defense attorney, also a former federal prosecutor. He's been following this case very closely. Tim, your first thoughts on this interview with Stephan Sterns?
Well, it's probably an interview he probably shouldn't have given. It gave a lot of leads and it opened up a lot of contradictions in the evidence. And clearly they were able to get his phone, get things on the phone. He locked themselves into positions that is completely contrary to the evidence. So it's very damaging for him.
You know, he's talking about how he got her up, you know, the wanting to go to McDonald's. There was a lot of focus on this wanting to go to McDonald's. But in the documents that the prosecutors released in discovery, they said that there's video footage that shows him leaving the complex that morning, and that Maddie, he said he tells the cops she was kind of dozed off and snoozing the whole time, but she's slumped over. So that leads us to believe that she was possibly already dead when he left the complex that morning. But he's
unbelievable
talking about wanting to go to McDonald's, and he was going to take her to McDonald's and dropping her off at this church. And it was like really early, but far away from the school. So there's all these like weird little things that he's telling the cops that just don't make sense when talking about dropping a 13-year-old girl off for school.
Yeah. Technology again is going to convict this guy. The technology at the gate showed her slumping to her left, which would be opposite the car door. Didn't look normal. What kid turns down McDonald's? What kid turns down McDonald's twice? Then he said he was going, he's giving his timeline, and that's just a coincidence. Both of them left their phones at home. So you couldn't get any geo-tracking. That was purposeful. Her iPad or computer, it was probably turned off also. He said she had her backpack, but then yet cops saw him dumping a backpack and
throwing it in the trash.
None of his story adds up. He was going the wrong direction. The police did a pretty good job keeping him talking. It wasn't only to the end where he says he realizes maybe I should get an attorney. So everything before that point is clearly going to be admissible.
One thing that I found very curious was the fact that this happened on February 26th, that him leaving the apartment complex, they say, with Maddie's body in the vehicle. And so he hadn't been at the apartment since December, according to the documents. So he shows up. She had been with her grandparents, apparently. He shows up that Sunday evening at 8:30 at night after her birthday party. She had celebrated her 13th birthday because she had turned 13 days before. And then he shows up, and sometime, I think the window would have to be sometime after 8:30, according to law enforcement, and 7 a.m., 7:30 the next morning, something happens and Maddie is dead, and mom is apparently sleeping in because of a new job, according to him. So we have a 12-hour or so window, maybe 11, 10-hour window where Maddie died, according to law enforcement. So it's very curious to me that he shows up all of a sudden right after her birthday party, and then the police say that he kills her for whatever reason. I don't know if something is supposed to have transpired during that time sexually, but he's talking about how, the mom was sleeping in because she has this new work schedule.
Yeah, it seems like what happened. He says he went to live with his parents who were older and complaining about them being deaf and having dogs barking. And maybe what happened, and we're all guessing, speculating, maybe Maddie thought this was over because all those sexual things were earlier when she was younger. Maybe she thought he was gone. And then maybe he shows back up and wants to continue it. And Maddie says, no, I'm going to the cops. I'm 13. We're not doing this anymore. And maybe that's why this transpired. It's just a guess, but the timing would line up with the facts.
Man, can you imagine?
Another thing that I found so disturbing was the fact that her mother told law enforcement in an interview the next day, the day after this interview, that they were all sleeping in the same bed together. And then when she needed to sleep by herself because of her anxiety, Stephan and Maddie are sleeping in the same bed together. I mean,
you what?
Yeah, that's some crazy shit right there. Stella, thank you.
And law enforcement says
this happened in Florida.
They find videos when she's like 8 years old, even 11 years old, of him sexually abusing her. And I mean, it's unbelievable to me.
It's horrible. And the mother was not a good mother. She has some responsibility for the sexual
right Don, thank you.
Problems that happen here. You can't let 11, 10-year-olds sleep with a stepfather in the same bed, not knowing, not asking.
Separate bed. I mean, same bed too. All three of them. That's a whole nother. Like, what the?
FBI, open up!
But the those two in the bed together, just without the mom. What the?
What?
Fuck?
What the fuck?
You know what's going on. I don't know if they have enough to charge the mother with the murder. We just don't know. We don't, that interview we got, they tried to show her pictures of his private part and she was in denial, couldn't even do that. So I don't know where they're going to go with charging her with the murder, but clearly she should be charged with something, not taking care of her child. Well, she can't lose her child custody bit because the child's dead, but it's a horrible scenario. No stepmother or father should let a child of the opposite sex sleep in the bed with them. It shouldn't, not just those two, but not with the three of them.
Yeah, like none of that.
Things happen in the middle of the night, and you shouldn't do that. Absolutely shouldn't do it.
No, definitely not. It's actually really unbelievable. And the fact that he actually tried.
Say what you want to say. Oh, man. Oh, my God. See, y'all, I think this is maybe why y'all enjoy the show so much because, on these networks and stuff where they're talking about like this, they have to be like, yes, it is absolutely disgusting. It's terrible. No, it's fucking disgusting. Man. Thumbs up in the chat if that's why y'all are here because I tell it like it is. I don't have anything to hold back. Which is why you should come subscribe to the YouTube channel and the Rumble channel, just in case TikTok ever gets mad at me, y'all. Go ahead. Come on over. Search The Mystery Project on YouTube and The Mystery Project on Rumble. And subscribe to both. I love you guys. Hit me with the donuts too, TikTok. Tap the screen like crazy. Let's get 50,000 likes. We got 37,000. Y'all tap the screen like crazy. And do me a favor, hit that follow button if you happen to be new here. My name's Patrick, and I go live every single night. So if you like true crime, come on in. 9 p.m. Pacific time, y'all, every single night. All right, let's keep going.
To blame her, saying she had done something with a camera when she was younger or something, and there was something sexual that had happened, and she had done something with a camera. I mean, he was clearly trying to cast some blame on Maddie for some of these photographs.
Which you are sick, dude.
That law enforcement said in the documents she could not have taken due to the positioning.
Yeah.
Tim Jansen, I think it's just going to get worse from here the more that comes out.
Yeah, his interview, how calm and cool he was, right? He's a psychic, man. It's terrible what he was doing. He was making things up as he goes, talking about making U-turns, trying to go to the vape shop. It wasn't open yet. And they said, well, how'd you know what time the vape shop opened? You didn't have your phone with you. Nothing added up. And when they finally confronted him about going the wrong direction, he came up with this clicker. He's a pathological liar and a murderer and a sexual deviant.
Yep. And now he's going to burn in hell. Stella, thank you.
And he should be in prison. And if he doesn't get the death penalty, he will not hurt another child, another person, hopefully again.
Yeah, and he was not out looking for her, that's for sure. And then,
yeah, no shit.
And couldn't remember anything because he had taken an Ativan, a sedative, the night before. This is what he was telling the law enforcement officers.
What?
It's stunning. He's pleaded not guilty. He's
Angel, thank you. Stella, thank you. Y'all, 20 left.
Presumed innocent until proven guilty. But there's a lot of evidence that really does make him look bad. Tim Jansen, thank you so much.
Thank you, Angenette. Good seeing you.
Oh my God. Unbelievable. That dude is a huge waste of space. All right, next up, we're going to talk about this guy. YouTube, you don't see anything but a black screen right now. But we're going to be talking about this dude. What's his name again? James McNeal. 58 years old, accused of strangling his 20-year-old girlfriend in Seattle. He was like a, what's it called? Councilman. What the flip?
What the fuck?
Here we go. TikTok, hit the follow button if you're new here. Tap the screen like crazy. And we got 19 donuts to go.
A city councilman faces murder charges in Washington after police accused him of killing his much younger girlfriend. This week, he entered a not guilty plea in court. We're going to dig into the charging.
Nice fedora.
Documents with Seattle attorney Anne Bremner. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. James McNeal Jr. seemed to be a pillar of his community in Bothell, Washington. Served on the city council for 8 years. He'd been in the construction business. It's our understanding he even helped create a charity to foster relationships between police and young people in the area. But earlier this month, the 58-year-old McNeal was arrested and charged with murder.
Oh, my
Murder.
God.
After being found at his 20-year-old girlfriend's home, and she was dead in the bedroom upstairs. Liliya Guyvoronsky was found naked, face down in her
Holy hell.
bed. She was covered up by bedding. Police documentation indicates McNeal's own attorney called 911. Think about that for a second, saying his client was inside the home. There had likely been a homicide. First responders believe that Liliya had been dead for a while.
Dude called his attorney first. Oh, shit. The hell am I supposed to do? I'll call 911. Kat, thank you for the donuts. Very sweet. 14
Investigators are still waiting on autopsy results to determine when exactly she died and how she was killed. For now, it appears that she was suffocated. Investigators believe that she likely died sometime between April 28th, when neighbors last reported seeing her, and April 30th, when she was found.
Dear Lord. Jeep Angel, thank you.
According to police, as well as what friends and family have told local media outlets, Liliya met McNeal when she was working at a Seattle strip club. McNeal reportedly had separated from his wife he shared children with. He lost his bid for re-election to the city council last year. He had served 2 terms. McNeal and Liliya apparently had been in an on-again, off-again relationship for some time, with McNeal reportedly funding her lifestyle so she could maybe quit her job. They reportedly had a fight.
Oh, hell. Kat, thank you for the cap. Brittany, thanks for the heart me.
Just days before she was killed, Liliya's friend Madison Darner told KIRO7 in Seattle she was 20 years old and she was young. She was figuring out her life, and she was a beautiful and talented young woman. She cared for every single person, and the intention behind her actions was so sincere and genuine. No one deserves to be murdered like that. I want to
unfreaking believable. Jeep Angel, thank you. Don Marie, thank you.
bring in right now Seattle attorney Anne Bremner. You have a lot of experience in these kinds of domestic violence cases, and it's good to see you. It's been some time. Right off the bat, it has.
Yeah, great to see you.
Good to see you. Right off the bat, how do you react to this story, since it's not necessarily in your neighborhood, but, you know, it's in your state?
Well, and she actually was in South Seattle, which is more in my neighborhood here in Seattle. But it's shocking to see somebody that served on the city council not 1 but 2 terms and had
Don, thank you. Damn, Don, you were crazy. Thank you for being so damn sweet.
at least up until now, you know, a crime-free life, you know, family, everything else. To be arrested like this was a pretty shocking headline, especially when his lawyer called in and said that there's a homicide in that house. And of course, there he was with the body.
Let's get to that in a minute, because I'm made of questions when it comes to that. But I want to go through these charging documents with you. So McNeal was charged with murder in the 2nd degree. I believe that carries up to life in prison. The prosecutor stated in the filing, quote, that the defendant James Gregory McNeal Jr. in King County, Washington, on or about the period between April 28th, 2024 and April 30th, 2024, while committing and attempting to commit the crime of assault in the 2nd degree.
Oh, damn. Michelle, thank you for the $5 super chat. You are so funny. You tell it how it is. Love you. Hell yeah. Somebody's got to. Thank you for the super chat, too. Very sweet. YouTube, I can post yours up like that. It's super cool. Thank you for the love and the support. Let's keep going.
And in the course of and in furtherance of said crime, and in the immediate flight therefrom, and with intent to cause the death of another person, did cause the death of Liliya A. Guyvoronsky, a human being who was not a participant in said crime and who died between April 28th, April 30th. Now, assault in the 2nd degree, as used in the above charge, means to intentionally assault another by strangulation or suffocation. His bond was set at $3 million. So, and my question is, the way I understand it, is for there to be 2nd degree murder, you either need the intent to kill, but you don't need premeditation, but the intent to kill. Right. But also, if you're committing a felony, like an assault and someone dies, that could be 2nd degree murder. Do I have that right?
You have it exactly right. And in our state, we have the underlying felony of assault, too. If that's committed, it could be by strangulation or grievous bodily harm assault. You're going to have murder, too, in certain circumstances. And that's the way they charge it here. And then, of course, with murder, too, you don't have premeditation like lying in wait, but you have intent to kill. So you can charge in the alternative.
So in other words, if he were to say, listen, we got into a fight, I got aggressive, he wouldn't be able to argue. I don't know. You tell me. Would he be able to argue manslaughter, or does he have to say, I had nothing to do with this? I wasn't there. I didn't put my hands on her.
Yeah, I mean, he can't say that because he was found with her body. I mean, that'd be a pretty tough defense, right?
Yeah,
On Lisa. Although he was silent after his lawyer said he's not going to talk, and he didn't talk after he was arrested by Seattle police. But basically, with you have strangulation, that is actually assault too in our state. And an interesting thing, just as a side note, our Supreme Court threw out assault too as an underlying offense for murder too sometime back, but then the legislature fixed some things and now it's back in as an underlying felony for two.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's I can understand that. I can understand why you would do that. Because if you're going to engage in that kind of violent attack and someone dies, it makes sense. But let me talk to you about McNeal's attorney, because this is really, really interesting. So his attorney was the one who made the call to 911 to report that something very bad had happened inside this South Seattle home. Jan Olson, the attorney, called Seattle police on April 30th. Part of the 911 phone call transcript was included in the charging documents. I'll read it right here. Olson says, I'm an attorney. I am reporting what is likely a homicide. I represent someone inside the residence and am making the call. I have not gone inside. I am outside of the residence. When the dispatcher asked if Olson knew the relationship between his client and the person he believed was dead in the home, Olson said, I cannot comment further. I am here to assist this person as an attorney, and am authorized to share this in order to have law enforcement become involved. Now, Anne.
Whoa. What the fuck? By the way, shout out to Vicky Rose, Miss Vicky Rose. Thank you for the PayPal through the link tree. Thank you for the love, y'all. Off the Grid's coming in hot right now. Thank you so much. That's a Galaxy too. Get out of my attic. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Let's keep going. TikTok, by the way, hit the follow button if you're new here. My name's Patrick. If you like true crime, we're live every night. Keep tapping the screen like crazy too. Let's get 50,000 likes. We're so close. Come on, y'all. So close. Tap the screen like crazy. Come hang out on YouTube and Rumble. Just search The Mystery Project on YouTube and Rumble. You can find the channel if you want to watch the video, like actually see the video with us. And thank you for the hearts, y'all. We got 7 left. I appreciate it. Hit me with a little heart action, y'all. Let's go.
And you actually know Jan Olson?
I do. I just finished a case with Jan where we both represented the same individual. He had the criminal case and I had the civil. And I've known him for decades. He's a great lawyer, very ethical, very, very careful. And my guess, I mean, just from what he said, is that the accused at that point asked him to make that call. And so that's what he did.
Okay. Is that the only way that could have happened? Or does he say, my client just told me that he strangled someone and I'm going to call law enforcement? Because the attorney-client relationship, the attorney-client privilege could be kind of interesting there.
Thanks for the follows, y'all. And Don, thanks. Thank you so much.
If his client called him and said, I just strangled someone, I don't know if she's dead or not. She might be dead, but I just strangled her, or someone. Does he have an obligation to call law enforcement?
You know, I think he does in that circumstance under our ethical rules in Washington, especially if you don't know if she's dead or not. And so the fact is, if someone can come in and rescue her, then I think he has that obligation. I was surprised. I don't think he identified himself, did he? But they had the identification on the call, some way to identify the caller.
Yeah,
at any rate.
He said, I'm an attorney. I don't know if he gave his full name, but yeah.
Right. But it sounds like the body had been there for some time.
Yeah.
So it kind of begs the question about, was there some emergency or something like that? So
because let's be clear, it's an ongoing threat, ongoing crime. If a murder had already happened and there's a dead body, he wouldn't necessarily have to call police, right?
Exactly.
Walk us through that.
Exactly. And that's why I think he must have had the go-ahead from his client to make that call. His client is sitting there for days, I don't know, hours, and then calls his lawyer and says, listen, somebody needs to report this. I'm sitting here. And so Jan makes the call. That's the way I would think it happened. But only Jan knows, and only the defendant knows.
Because your client could confess to you, I know where the bodies are, or I did this, but you wouldn't be under a legal obligation to then report it to the police. That's attorney-client privilege.
I know, and there's some tough cases on that, as you know, Jesse, over the years.
Yeah.
On that ethical obligation and how families wait for answers, and attorneys don't give those often in certain cases based on the privilege.
I'm starting to think that, I think you're right, that he must have gotten the green light from Mr. McNeal to call police, because if this was already a homicide, this was already a dead body, he wouldn't have had an obligation to do that. Okay, so Olson calls the police. They send out officers, and this is what they find. This is according to the charging documents. The police responded. The defendant was immediately taken into custody as he exited the victim's home. Evidence from the residents and the victim's family show that the defendant and this victim had been in a dating relationship that
Oh, snap. Stella, thank you.
lasted several months, and that he was likely supporting her financially, estimated at approximately $10,000 a month. At the time police made entry into the home, the victim was laying naked in her bed, her safe space, as she had described it to her mother, having been deceased for some time. Observed around the residence were handwritten notes reminding her not to have contact with the defendant, describing him as mentally and emotionally abusive, and recording details as
Holy hell. Jeep Angel, thank you for the $10 Rumble rant. We appreciate your crazy tail hanging out with us every night, Patrick. Yeah. Thank you for the Rumble rant. Very sweet of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's keep going.
as to how he made her feel so that she would not forget it. Photographs of McNeal and Guyvoronsky together in various locations, as well as several handwritten lists believed to be authored by Guyvoronsky, were found throughout her residence. One such note was dated April 29th, 2024, best described as a to-do list, had several items listed, including at the very bottom, "Do not interact with James today." Another note with similar handwriting indicates, "Make sure you do not forget how you felt, the anger, hurt, neglect from James, knowing you are struggling, does not care, dismissing any attempts to ask for help, demanding sex, demanding access to everything. Example, key to home." And talk to me about these notes.
Whoa.
Well, they're just devastating. I mean, coercive control, of course, is the phrase we use with domestic violence cases. And she's in chapter and verse laying that out to herself, but also to us today and the prosecutors and potentially jury in the future as to what she was going through. I mean, she had worked, and then he was paying her $10,000 a month, and she didn't work. And yet, you know, she was all conflicted because he was controlling, he was abusive, and she was reminding herself daily, don't fall for this guy. And she even talked about how he would get abusive, she would give him the silent treatment, and then he would love bomb her and have her come back, you know, gifts, dresses, things like that, and money. But she wanted out of that cycle, but then she ended up dead. We know how cycle of violence can oftentimes end this way. And just one other side note, in the O.J. Simpson case we just saw, at least I recently saw, that Nicole Brown Simpson had quite a journal similar to this that never came into evidence.
So, in other words, you see this in the kinds of cases you've covered, these domestic violence cases where there's somebody in the relationship leaving themselves notes, reminding them about what happened. So when you heard that detail, you weren't necessarily surprised to hear it.
No, and I've also seen somebody like the Susan Cox Powell case that I had where she actually did a last will and testament saying, if I die, my husband did it. And she put it in a safe deposit box. And she was right.
Whoa.
Now, when police took McNeal out of the home, it goes on to state the court filing, officers observed that McNeal had both fresh and dried blood on his clothing, a deep laceration on his right wrist, and a couple of other lacerations on his left wrist. Mr. Olson advised that Mr. McNeal would not say anything to officers. McNeal was identified by his Washington State driver's license. Officers believe that McNeal may have been attempting to take his own life, so they took him to a hospital. And how does that aspect factor into the case?
I guess it could get him some sympathy, but not really. I mean, in this kind of a case, there was even a vigil yesterday for her because some folks were saying she was denigrated because she'd quote unquote been a stripper before this. And a lot of people are talking about what a wonderful person she was, you know, her family is, her friends, her neighbors, etc. And so maybe he did try and do that, but again, how's that going to help him in a trial? He's facing murder 2 charges with potentially, like you said, life in prison and a $50,000 fine, or both.
Well, I imagine he could say, I was so distraught at seeing her body. This is what I did. But I really think it goes to consciousness of guilt, right? In your experience, if someone tries to, there's one thing for trying to escape, but if someone tries to take their own life, sometimes that can be used to prove that they committed the crime.
Right. And I was going back to the O.J. Simpson case. Why didn't they bring that out when he wrote what looked like a suicide note? They didn't. I thought that they should have. And I think in this case, it would be important. We had a stock brief in our prosecutor called evidence of flight is evidence of guilt. I mean, it's so obvious that comes in. and the fact that he wanted to take his own life, that does show, like you said, consciousness of guilt. And then he finally calls his lawyer because he's just been sitting there stewing after he did try and kill himself. But apparently that was a pretty futile effort from what I can tell from the injuries.
Oh, Lord. Jason, good to see you. Thanks, man.
Now, he was supposed to appear in court for the first time for a bail hearing in the days after, but he was a no-show. He waived his right to appear in court. That's when the judge set that $3 million bond. He finally appeared on Tuesday, didn't say anything. His attorney entered a not guilty plea for him. His next court date in June, plans for a trial in July. What do you make of that, not showing up?
You know, I kind of look at someone like this and think that he's just being a manipulator. I mean, he could show up. He wasn't unable physically to show up. And he did look pretty bad in those pictures and the videos that I saw from yesterday. But all you do, at least in my state, is you can only enter a plea of not guilty at that stage. Right. Nothing's going to happen on the calendar. So he wasn't really avoiding anything.
Anne Bremner, thank you so much for coming on. Really disturbing case, but appreciate your insight as always.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, that is a crazy case, isn't it, y'all? Holy hell. All right, let's move on to the next one. I can't remember which one it is. Oh, wait, I know which one it is. It is a lady that was a school resource teacher, Marissa Mayer. And apparently she's facing felony charges after she brought a firearm to school. What the hell? Like in her backpack or something, apparently. This sounds crazy. This sounds... Yeah. Hold on. TikTok, I forgot to share her picture. 2 seconds. It's going to pause just for 2 seconds, y'all. Maybe. There it goes. But not for you, YouTube and Rumble. Y'all get to hang out the whole time. Oh my God. Way to freeze up, TikTok. Oh, yeah. Now just turn everything off, TikTok overlords. Jesus. God. Hey, it worked. All right. Let's jump into this one, y'all. What the hell?
A second grade teacher is allegedly caught.
Second grade teacher, too? Man, you are crazy as hell for this.
With a gun at school, within reach of her young students. We're examining the case and potential consequences with Chad Ayers, former sheriff's deputy, former SWAT, and founder of Proactive Response Group. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. All right, let's talk about 40-year-old Marissa Mayer. Now, she was acting as a substitute teacher in a second grade classroom at Mary Beck Elementary in Elkhart, Indiana on Monday. And this is what...
Substitute teacher?
You what?
When the school resource officer was alerted that Mayer had a gun in her backpack. She was arrested, charged with possession of a firearm on school property. It's a level 6 felony, which I'll talk about in a minute. Now, police say Mayer doesn't have any criminal history. We got our hands on the affidavit in support of a warrantless arrest, and I'm going to talk about it more. But who better to talk about this than somebody we've had here on Sidebar repeatedly, somebody, our fan favorite, somebody who I actually haven't had the chance to meet in person, but he's with us today. Former sheriff's deputy, former SWAT, founder of Proactive Response Group, Chad Ayers. Chad is in studio with us. Chad, good to see you.
Jesse, it is great to be here in the city and to get to hang out with you guys for a little bit.
This is a big moment for you.
This is a long time coming.
Yeah.
Right?
Is it the studio that is a bigger thing for you, or the fact that you get to hang out with all of us here?
I think it's a little mixture of both.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we're going to change this studio. So don't get, people, we get a lot of criticism online about our studio, but what do you think? It's not terrible.
It's not bad at all.
Yeah,
I mean, you know how media, social media, they're going to nitpick anything.
I know, but it's okay. It's okay. Chad, I got you here. I'm so happy to have you here. So, first, let me start off. In most jurisdictions, schools are gun-free zones, right? And have you ever seen, and we'll get into it more, have you ever seen a case like this where a teacher brings a gun to school?
Just 2 weeks ago in my hometown in Greenville, South
Carolina.
We had a teacher that was arrested. In fact, it was a school that had an active shooter event 2 years ago. and
Jesus,
the teacher kind of was showing it off a little bit, thinking he had good friends. It's almost identical, and he was arrested 2 weeks ago in Greenville, South Carolina.
What was the rationale?
He didn't want to explain why he had the gun in his backpack.
Well,
I think a lot of times, though, it truly is an honest mistake.
Let's talk about that, because now we're going to get back into this story. So I want to dive into this affidavit. Chad's going to be here to break it down with me. So the Elkhart County corporal, who was working as a school resource officer, writes, quote, I was contacted by Jamie Snyder, the director of safety and security for Elkhart Community Schools, in reference to a possible teacher being in possession of a handgun at Mary Beck Elementary School. At this time, I went to the school where Snyder met me a short time later. We met with the assistant principal, Brandon Kavanaugh, who advised the school librarian, Sarah Avery, had come to him and reported that Meyer had told her that she was in possession of a gun at school today. So you have these several players here, the SRO, the assistant principal, the director of safety, the librarian who learned Meyer had a gun. That seems like a lot of people who were involved in this and kind of like this chain of command.
Right. Which is so interesting, talking about
that is crazy as hell.
About the librarian. If you read in a little bit more to this case, they were good friends.
Yeah.
And she basically came to her and said, hey, look, I left my gun in my backpack. What should I do? And first of all, I don't know why you would say that to someone. I think she was probably in panic mode. But obviously, in a situation like this, a firearm on school grounds, there's a lot of people that are going to be involved, from administration to the school resource officer to the authorities that school resource officer probably works under.
And I will tell you, and to be clear, no one got hurt. There's no one who was shot, no one who was injured. But the idea of a gun on school property, even if it was a mistake, and we'll get into it a little bit more, the danger of having a weapon like that near children, I'm sure in your career and your experience, that just can lead to disastrous consequences.
Of course it can.
I'm probably going to get a little bit of pushback on what I'm about to say. But the fact is this. Obviously, what I do now, after getting out of law enforcement and now teaching active shooter response to school districts across the country, there's a big debate out here about arming teachers, right?
Yep.
I've always been against that. And this is why. And it's nothing against someone's Second Amendment rights. The fact of the matter is, teachers are there to teach. Our school resource officers are there to protect the students and make sure things go safe. Imagine, and it's this type of situation exactly. Thank God nothing happened. But imagine being a first grade teacher. You have your firearm that you're allowed to carry as a teacher, and you walk into a classroom, a student's throwing up. You set your bag down to go help them, and then another first grader fumbles through your bag and gets their hands on it. There's so much that could potentially happen in a situation like that.
The counter argument is, of course, with an active shooter, and you have one or two school resource officers, they won't be able to respond in time. So you have teachers who are there who might be able to save, maybe act quickly and save lives. But it's a tough situation, to say the least. Let me go a little bit more into this. So we have the SRO, the assistant principal, the safety director. They all go down to the classroom where the second graders are working on schoolwork. And the affidavit says, quote, Snyder informed Meyer why we were there and asked her if she was in possession of a gun. Meyer stated that she was, and it was in her backpack, that she was in the classroom, so she wasn't like hiding it or anything like that. Meyer told Snyder where it was located. Snyder went, retrieved the backpack that was in teal in color with multiple compartments and had several of the compartments unzipped. The bag was sitting on a chair by the teacher's desk in a place where any of the students in the room could have gained access to the gun that was later found inside. So they go through the bag, and there's a .22 caliber Phoenix Arms handgun in there. And the affidavit states, quote, the handgun was unloaded, but the magazine for the gun was located in the backpack and contained 8 live rounds of .22 LR. Also located in the backpack was an empty gun holster that, when located, Meyer made the comment that the gun must have fallen out. So again, it seems to me they're saying that, or at least Meyer's saying, that the gun fell out of the holster, but it might not have been actively in a condition where it could have fired, but it could have easily been loaded. I mean, there were live rounds in there, and that's a little concerning.
Well, 100%. I mean, like we said, we're in a school. Depending on the type of holster that you have, yes, I can understand where it could fall out, throwing it in your backpack. But again, we are in an elementary school where kids are curious.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And you go fumbling around and you get your hands on it. And again, do I think a first grader has the wherewithal to figure out how to insert a magazine, charge around? No, but it's the fact of the matter.
It could. Deb, thank you for subscribing. Y'all, thank you for subscribing. We're trying to get back to 250. I appreciate that. Thank you for the love. And we need 5 more of the hearts, TikTok. By the way, hit the follow button if you're new here. My name's Patrick. If you like true crime, I'm live every single night, y'all. Tap the screen like crazy. We got 50,000 likes. Let's go for 75,000. And come over to YouTube and Rumble, y'all. You can actually see the video we're watching right now. Come on and hang out. Just search The Mystery Project on YouTube and Rumble.
Is just like law enforcement, teacher, you've got to be held to a higher standard.
Well, how are you familiar with that weapon? How difficult is it to load it?
I mean, obviously, you're going to have to insert the magazine. You're going to have the grip strength to charge around, put around in from the magazine into what's called, the chamber of the gun. So it is going to take a little bit of strength. I always laugh. My wife and I go target shooting, and even her as a grown adult has trouble at times racking the slide back to get around in the chamber.
I bet she's a better shot, though.
All females are better shots than men for some reason. But again, it would be very difficult, I believe, for an elementary school kid to put that gun into battery.
But that's one of the things that struck me, and I was happy to have you here, is how, whether it's a school resource officer or an officer with a police department, how do they approach a situation where there's an active weapon? That's got to be a very sensitive situation. You have to be very careful how you approach it. What do you do?
Well, one, you don't want to cause a lot of discourse in the room, but I want to get my hands on that bag. And the great part is the teacher had already told the librarian that it was in her backpack, so they knew where it was. So obviously, if I'm that school resource officer, I'm not going to make a big show. I'm going to be as discreet as possible. But I'm going to go with an administrator in there, and I'm going straight to get my hands on the backpack. Again, that's just to protect myself, to protect everyone else in the room, until we fully know the story of why is this gun in the backpack.
And how do you retrieve it? I know that's kind of a specific question, but how do you handle it in a way to make sure everything's okay and it doesn't go off? Or how do you approach that?
Carefully.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Carefully. Quickly and carefully.
Obviously, they didn't know that the gun was not loaded, that the magazine wasn't in there or went in the chamber. And look, very easily with car keys, things in backpacks that could get inside the trigger guard of that firearm. If it was loaded and it wasn't in a holster, it very well could have gone off.
Right.
So for me, I'm going to go in there and just discreetly open it up. If I see it and I can tell, okay, this thing's not loaded, I can safely move the backpack. The last thing I want to do is do that in front of the kids. Maybe you go in there and have a teacher down the hallway pull those kids into their classroom. Right. So you're not drawing attention. The last thing we want to do is freak a bunch of elementary school kids out that their substitute teacher has a pistol in the classroom.
You talked about it before, but let's talk about why she even had this weapon in her backpack in the first place if she knew she was going to substitute teach that.
Yeah, what did she just leave it in there and forgot it was in there? That's probably what she's going to say.
Day. Well, the affidavit states, quote, Meyer also stated to Snyder that the reason the gun was in the bag was because she lost the key fob to her vehicle in South Bend yesterday and had to leave her vehicle there. Meyer stated that she removed the gun from the vehicle, forgot it was in the backpack until she arrived at the school. The officer checked, and Meyer does have a valid handgun permit, and the gun is registered. So, Chad, it seems like could have been a simple mistake, but what could she have done differently?
Be smart.
I just did this yesterday flying up here to New York, right? Yep. Every time I get to the airport, I double and triple check my backpack. Obviously, as a former law enforcement officer, and being able to carry a firearm, I keep a firearm on me, at home most of the time. But I never put my firearm in my travel backpack for that reason. How many people, high-profile people, politicians, have been caught going through airports, and it's a mistake. But you know what? It doesn't matter. They are treated the same way, mistake or not. You have to have the wherewithal, and you have to, be disciplined enough to check your stuff before you come in there. Again, I think this was honestly a true mistake that happened. And now she's going to pay the consequence for it.
But in your experience, have you arrested somebody or been part of the arrest of somebody who mistakenly had a weapon and they weren't facing charges? They said, listen, we understand this was an oversight. This was a mistake.
The only time I've seen this really happen like this is in an airport setting where we had a deputy that was going to a class and totally forgot that his gun was in the backpack. And again, it gets the sheriff involved, it gets the prosecutor involved. But keep in mind, this isn't like, an internal investigation or an internal investigation. You've got TSA, you've got, FAA, all these other federal agencies. It's not like you can play the good old boy system at the airport and say, hey, I was a cop. look, it just doesn't work that way.
And this is a school, not an airport, but she faces a level 6 felony charge, which I believe carries 6 months to 2.5 years in prison. I got to imagine that if she were to plead guilty to this, I don't even know if she would get prison time. No. I feel like it would be probation.
I think,
would her license get revoked or something like that?
I think that the concealed carry permit's probably going to get revoked. I think she's going to pay a fine, probably do some type of pretrial intervention, to get it off, of her record. I can see something like this happen. This lady, listen, they're not throwing this lady in prison for this. The investigators that.
Y'all give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
That are investigating this are going to do their due diligence and looking at all the facts of this case and realize this is a mistake.
Well, the SRO included statements from the school staff that were involved, including the librarian, as Chad said, that I went down to Mrs. Gamble's classroom where Mrs. Meyer was substituting. I went to the classroom because Mrs. Meyer and I have become friends and enjoy saying hi and checking in on each other. While in the classroom, Miss Meyer shared with me that she is stressed because she has family in town. Her husband lost the key to her car. Mrs. Meyer proceeded to tell me that due to not having the key to her car, she cleaned her car out, which is when she placed the gun in her backpack. Mrs. Meyer said she forgot that it was in her backpack. Now currently in her backpack in the classroom. I said my usual goodbye to Mrs. Meyer, went back to the library to process and decide what I should do with this information. So the librarian is seemingly trying to figure out who she should report this to. Eventually, she's able to get in touch with Kavanaugh, the assistant principal, and he kind of takes it over from there. So she's kind of in a tough spot here because Meyer is apparently her friend. She's reporting having this gun. She did the right thing, Chad, but sometimes, or you tell me I think she did the right thing, but sometimes people in that position wouldn't report, right? Family members, friends, they wouldn't be in that position to essentially, and I don't know what the best word is, but report on, rat on, whatever you want to say on somebody.
Jesse, you're trying to say snitch.
Well, I mean, she did the right thing.
But she 100%. Look, that's an integrity issue.
Yeah.
Right? If she was to bury that and God forbid something did happen like we just talked about before, you think this librarian wants to live with that the rest of her life? Absolutely not. I wish the lady had never even told the librarian. In a sense, you put her in a terrible situation. Thank God nothing happened, but she backed her into her corner. But the librarian 100% did the right thing. Yep. She stuck to her guns, and she had the intent.
Stuck to her guns. Oh no! Why'd you say it like that?
Bruh.
Why didn't the teacher just tell the other teacher right there and say, "Hey, can you watch the kids for a minute? I got to use the restroom," and then walk out and put her backpack in her car.
Integrity to report it, and unfortunately, not sure where this friendship's going to go from there.
Well,
but hopefully, she can understand that. Hey, look, you came to me and told me that you had this gun in your backpack. You put me in a crappy situation.
She really did. I got to give her credit for reporting on this. Meyer was released on a $5,000 bond. She has a hearing scheduled for next week. We kind of talked a little bit about where you see this going. And one of the things that struck me as well is how important it is to have a school resource officer to respond quickly to that. But also, we talked about at the very beginning, this level of, one person spoke to the next person. They had a protocol in place. How important is it for schools to be prepared for this and for school resource officers to be prepared for this?
So school resource officers go through some additional training on their own.
Yeah.
Right? Aside from the police academy and what you get in field training, going into a school that's a different dynamic of laws and legality on what you can do, searching students, searching backpacks. So obviously, but it's all about working together. We've talked about this a lot, all right? Multiple agencies working together, for the common good and for the common goal. But I think the school resource officer is a great layer of defense, in situations, not just on active shooter events or violence, but, mediators between teachers. Look, we've had teachers that have shown up intoxicated to schools before. And there's a lot that is put on school resource officers. I think, honestly, back in the day, school resource officers are where people went to retire. Basically, that's not the case anymore. You can't have 40 years in, being 70 years old and assigned to the school, right? And I'm not talking about age or anything like that. It's just you need people that are able to respond. Some of these elementary schools now are 2 or 3 floors high. It's not just a single story school. So you actually need more of the cream of the crop, young, athletic deputies that are in there that can do their job, respond in a critical incident, but be able to think on this at the same time.
I wish that wasn't the case. I wish we didn't have to think like that, but unfortunately we do. The good news about this story is no one was hurt. No one was harmed.
That is good.
No gun went off. Just a crazy situation. And, we'll see if it seems more of like a lesson that needs to be learned than any kind of penalty, to say the least. But Chad Ayers, good seeing you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me. I'll see you soon.
Awesome.
Oh my God, that is crazy as hell. Why would you do that? Yeah, he's right though. Learn a lesson. Don't forget that you put those things in your damn backpack. Y'all, I'm going to end it for tonight. I am pretty freaking tired. It was a long day. Oh, we did 3 cases. But, oh, man. I'm out of here. I'm going to get some food, get something to eat, little midnight snack. And then I'm off to bed. YouTube and Rumble, make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you leave a like. I love you guys. Subscribe. Do all the things. And I'll see y'all tomorrow.